Overthinking and anxious thoughts can literally ruin all your life. I used to be a big overthinker. I used to have huge anxiety about what other people think about myself. And in the end, I would manifest all those situations that didn't even meant to happen with me. For example, I was thinking that this person is angry with me. I would think all different scenarios. I would think all different solutions to different situations. But the reality was that this situation could not even happen. But because of my thoughts, because I was thinking so much about it, overthinking, just wasting my time, this situation became a reality. So the reality is that overthinking is bringing you such serious consequences, such serious situations that would not have been there if you wouldn't overthink. And by that, I learned how to get past overthinking, how to get done with my anxious thoughts and the huge chaos in my brain. And this is what I'm going to teach you today. First thing, I need you to realize that everyone has different perceptions of you. There exists a different version of yourself because different people have different experiences with you and they perceive you differently. For example, I can ask you about your mom. What do you think about your mom? And you would say, she's this, she's that. But at the same time, if we ask the same question to your siblings, they would answer a whole different opinion about your mother. So in reality, no one knows what is the true reality of person. Your sibling doesn't know what your mother is. You doesn't know who your mother is. Maybe your mother even doesn't know who she is. So thinking that someone else's perception of you is your reality is the dumbest thing that you can do. The only person that knows who you really are is God himself, because you don't even know who you are. Maybe you got rejected from the job and now you think that you are not worthy anymore. But understand the reality that the interviewer perceived you in a special way. He formed opinion about you in absolutely different way that you form opinion about yourself. The way that this interviewer formed your opinion is based on their life experience, is based on actually their confidence, their opinion about themselves. And by that, you never need to form an opinion about yourself. You never need to base your confidence on other people's perception about you. Understand that people can perceive you as egoistic, as racist, as unconfident. They can perceive you in such different ways. For example, one person can think, wow, this girl really gave me an amazing advice. This girl made my life better. But the other one may think that she ruined my life. I feel lost because of her. But that is not my fault at all, because everyone has different minds, everyone has differently structured brains. So I feel totally okay when someone hates me or when someone admires me, because everyone had different experience with me, and that's totally fine. The second thing is to vision your thoughts. Recently, I had an amazing thing that I invented in my life, that every thought that comes to my mind, I say it loudly. I just get it out from my mind. So for example, I think about something and just in a moment, I voice my thought out. Or maybe someone hurted me. Maybe someone made me feel bad. And in this moment, I take my thoughts out and tell them. And I don't rely on the future to get this resolved. So if you didn't voice your opinion, you mistreat yourself. You collect this bad energy in you. You store it for the future. And later you think why your brain is so fogged, why you can't think clearly. It's because you didn't voice your thought at the time that you needed to get this thought out of your brain. This is the reason why I started to voice my thoughts out. because I cannot let that some unnecessary, wasteful thoughts would be shared in my mind, because there is a lot of space for knowledge, a lot of space for new experiences, and why would I share the absolute trash in my mind? I cannot let my brain to store unnecessary thoughts, to take this valuable space. And I do this to keep a peace of mind. I do this to make myself feel peaceful, to not get anxious thoughts, to not overthink. Because every wasteful thought that came to my mind, I voiced it out. I literally cannot afford to be triggered by something or offended by someone. The moment I get it, I voice it out. Why? Because why would I need to store this thought in my brain for later? It's a literal trash for my brain. And there's literally nothing wrong with voicing your opinion. Another thing is that you can journal and put your thoughts on the paper. It's actually amazing practice because, for example, the nighttime, the evening, is when we overthink the most. So the best technique to get rid of unnecessary thoughts and situations is to get your thoughts on paper. You sit down, you write everything that you feel negative about, and just close the journal and you go to sleep peacefully. So what happens in the evening? You start really to self-sabotage because your mind is finally at peace in the quiet space. You've been tired all day, and right now you're thinking, oh, he didn't like me. Oh, I said this, I said that. I shouldn't do this. Why would you want to go to sleep with these thoughts? So, for example, a guy didn't text you back, and now before bedtime, you start to really overthink it. You start to really overthink it. And like, what he thought about me, doesn't he like me, and everything, yada, yada, yada. But in the result, what you get is unpeaceful sleep and bad morning after that. And you basically create this crazy scene about it. You create different scenarios about it. And what the issue behind is that you created yourself an attachment issues with this guy. And why is that? Most likely, maybe a parent has left you in your childhood and now you think that no one can really commit to you. So the problem behind it is that you have to rework your brain, you have to rework your inner child and really understand it point by point. And in the result, you would actually get out of overthinking mindset. So another good example, you crashed your car and now you got out of your car and you're thinking why that happened. You start to analyze who did what and why this crash has happened. But in the reality, what you need to do, you need to understand how you will get out of this situation. So don't make a fool of yourself. And the final thought about it, that really overthinking gets you nowhere. You can spend 1 hour of overthinking about current situation. You can spend a whole day in your anxious thoughts thinking about some situation that was years ago, and think what in the end this brings to you. What result does it get to the table? Absolutely nothing. So here you need to understand that overthinking is the most unvaluable, the most time-wasting thing that you can do. You need to work on your insecurities. Think about this. Have you ever seen a really confident person who would struggle with anxiety and overthinking? In my experience, I have never met one person that is really confident, that is highly thinking about themselves, struggling with anxiety or overthinking. Why? Because they have worked on their insecurities. The unconfident person who has a lot of self-issues, insecurities, trust issues, etc., this is the person that would always overthink, catch them with anxiety and unpeaceful state of mind. What we can summarize about it, that overthinking and anxiety comes from within ourselves. We need to work on ourselves first. An amazing technique that I have learned from a wise friend of mine is whenever you catch yourself overthinking about some of the situations that have happened, you imagine this thought as a bubble. Basically, you get this thought, you start thinking that it's like a bubble flowing in your head. And what you need to do, you need to pop that bubble. And when you're thinking about popping that bubble, you're thinking about this thought leaving your brain. This is an amazing way how you can stop these thoughts, how you can bring yourself peace of mind. Actually, recently I had an amazing experience with getting over anxious thoughts. I had big performance coming up. I needed to play piano on a big stage with a lot of people sitting in the hall. And I remember I had approximately 15 minutes left before I was invited to stage. And imagine this, you need to go on a stage absolutely alone. You are playing there alone. A big space and only you and the piano. It seemed so scary, so crazy to me. And I remember I was sitting in this practice room thinking about, oh my God, what will happen if I do a mistake? What will happen if I forget sheet music? What will happen if I fail, if I do this, if I do that? And there was this moment, I just shutted it up. I just told myself, okay, stop here. And in this moment, I understood that why would I need to overthink? Why would I need to let all these anxious thoughts in my head and worsen my performance on stage? If God has planned for me, if God already knows what will happen with me in these 15 minutes, why do I need to make up all these scenarios in my head? It's absolutely wasteful. It really creates a more nervous space for me to perform in that I don't want to be in. So in that moment, these thoughts came up in my head that God is looking over me, God has my back, so I don't need to be nervous and stressed. I need to think that it will go amazing. Everyone will enjoy my performance. I will play like there is no one else listening to me. And this perspective really got me to success. This structure of thinking really got me to a desired result and not the overthinking or the nervousness. You know these situations when you have to perform somewhere or you have to talk to a big audience about something, or for example, in the front of the class, you have to present your presentation. What is happening? You are overthinking, you are nervous, all the different scenarios come on top of your head, and when you go in front of your class, you are so nervous, you can even stutter, and you think that what everyone will think about me, how everyone will perceive me. But the moment that you end your presentation, the moment that you come off the stage, come back to your seat in the classroom, always comes thought that I can do it again. It wasn't that bad. Why I was so nervous before that if right now I feel amazing, I feel filled up? So think about that. Should you really be nervous before you're performing somewhere, before you are talking with someone or with the big audience? Because at the end of the day, no one will remember that. No one. It's just you who will take years and years and years to overthink about that embarrassing situation. That is a true waste of your energy. At the same time, while you are overthinking, you can actually be thinking not about some situation, but more about what possible solutions could be there. And everyone has problems. Everyone has bigger problems. We have smaller problems. But at the end of the day, overthinking does not solve any of the problems. It can only make it worse by you wasting time on these different scenarios and by you really going further from the solution because you are letting a lot of unnecessary thoughts in your head. The next thing is that you need to ask for help. Don't be afraid to ask for help. When you don't know what to do in some situation, when you don't know how to answer, for example, to a text message, when you don't know how to act in some of the situations, ask for help. Call someone. Search answers, even on Google. Chat with ChatGPT. There is nothing wrong with asking for help. You can think that someone would perceive you as less confident, as someone less capable. But do you know how much courage does it take to get over yourself to ask someone for help? It's a really brave thing to do. You cannot imagine how much people have helped me with different situations. And what it took me, for example, I can just call my friend and say, hey, I don't know how to handle this situation. I feel this, I feel that, and I'm afraid of this and that. Can you please help me? Because really, what is the benefit of it? Your friend, for example, she is not attached to the situation that you are emotionally in. She doesn't know the people that you are telling about. She doesn't know anything. She doesn't feel anything about that situation. So she is the third person to that. Don't you think that this friend to whom you trust would give you a good advice on your situation? Because you are emotionally attached to this. By the nature, you cannot think clearly on that situation. So that's why it's amazing to ask for help. Because a person who is not mentally, emotionally, in any way attached to this situation, they can give you better advice, they can give you better solution to this problem than you overthinking and constantly making up different solutions to that. The next thing that you need to acknowledge is that sometimes you just need to trust your life. Don't overthink about situations. Don't think of solutions. Don't waste your time on managing your brain to get some solutions out of it. Because, for example, you might face a breakup, yes, and instead of thinking the possible solutions, how you can return back to the relationship, instead of thinking the scenarios, instead of letting these thoughts pass by and thinking why this person is thinking this about me, why he did that, and etc., you can just pass this situation to God. You can just trust with it. Because in my opinion, the best thing that you can do in this kind of scenario, just step out of the situation. With this, you are showing the world that this situation doesn't affect you. You trust God with this situation, and you trust that this situation is going to bring you to a better outcome. So sometimes you don't need to think about the solutions. You don't need to rewire your brain and ask for help and do everything you can just to fix the situation. You just need to step out of it emotionally, mentally, sometimes physically. And this might be the best solution to your problem, stepping out of it. Because remember, every situation, every problem that you face will always develop in the way that it should develop. You cannot remake the future. You cannot make future develop differently because you did this, you have this problem for a certain reason. This problem was given to you so you understand some perspective that you aren't ready to face. But this new understanding came to you so you can act better in the future. For example, you want to become a millionaire and you have problem with talking bad about others. And sometimes life throws you really bad situation that you have to face. So why this situation came to you? You have your goal to become a millionaire. Imagine you have to be in 5 years in a big, very important meeting. Imagine how other people would perceive you if you talk behind others' backs. Imagine how bad you would be perceived, how bad you would feel in that room if you didn't face the situation earlier. So, right now, when you have this issue, when you feel bad about what you did, it's the best gift that you possibly could get. Because this is the situation when you have the possibility to teach yourself how you can act better, how you can literally raise your chances of getting your outcome and result faster, by learning faster, by stopping to overthink. So in the end, overthinking is the main cause that is stopping you from your goals. We can position it like that. You know, even now, I remember all the bad situations that have happened in my life, all bad moments when I felt low, when I felt unworthy, etc. I am so grateful for these moments now. I am so grateful that I got through this pain. And even there was moments when I felt like I wouldn't get past it. I wouldn't live through this pain because it was so great. But right now, I am so grateful about that because I have new understanding that makes me act better, that makes me a better result. So the best possible scenario that I can take in a situation when I feel bad, when I did something bad, is to accept it, is to analyze it, and to make sure that I have the necessary education for the future to not make this situation happen to me again. And understand this, that by overthinking, by having anxiety, you cannot prepare yourself. You cannot make certain situations not to come in your life. If this is meant to happen, the God has planned for you. He will give you bad situations. You cannot escape from them. So overthinking and anxiety really just delays your progress. You are doing bad to yourself. Why would you do that? You cannot say no to bad situations that will come into your life because they were meant to teach you something. If you want to achieve big goals, big things, you need to understand that you have to be shapen in a certain way so you can handle those goals. If someone would give you 1 million euros right now, you will not have the education, the knowledge, the skills to keep this 1 million euros. You don't know how to increase the value of 1 million euros. You will just spend it away. So be grateful for all these negative situations, experiences that you have, because these experiences make sure that in future you are able to keep your goals. And let's touch the subject of the breakup again. Why would you overthink about a man who mistreated you if you know that God would provide you with something way better? Do you know how ambitious are some people in the world? We build rockets, we build spaceships. How crazy is that? And people are capable of building skyscrapers, such impossible things. Don't you think that God will turn this perspective around and give you something way better? Don't you think that He can make your life and fix your life for the better? If we can go to space. It's a crazy thing if we think about it. So trust God with this situation. Trust it, go through it, feel it, analyze, and go forward. But understand that God will not fix your life if you don't do anything. In accordance for Him to give you a solution to provide you with your desired outcome, you need to do something. You need to act. But also, don't perceive yourself as a failure if something didn't work out. Your business didn't work out, okay. You broke up, okay. You don't have money, okay. You feel bad, okay. Understand that this is just an amazing experience. This is life. And this is the thing that will move you forward. Without it, you will stay in the same place. And you are really making it worse for yourself. So don't just sit and ask God to help you, to move mountains for you, to fix your life. Do actually something. Make a plan. Do the action every day. Do the small steps. These small steps make sure that you achieve the big one. And also, don't feel bad about certain negative experiences. Because remember, we were put on this earth to make something of ourselves. We were put on this earth to prove ourselves, to do a certain task that God put in our mind to achieve while we are alive. And actually, we were put on this earth to have the best life we can. And I think actually God is backing up us like crazy. And all we need to do is just ask. Like some people are complaining to me, I don't get this, I don't get that. You didn't ask. Like just ask, God, please help me, I need this amount of money because my car broke down. And you don't know His way, but God will make sure that this money actually comes to you. And why it came? Because you asked. Because again, returning to the second point, you asked for help. You did the courageous thing. So remember, you were put on this earth to live the best life you possibly can. So don't be shy. Ask for big things. So ask for the biggest thing. Because these people, that doesn't matter. The money doesn't matter. Nothing is a big thing in God's eyes. So the big problematic issue that is in your brain, for God, it's nothing. It's just a small lesson for you that you need to overcome. But you, by overthinking, you are making a big bubble of the situation and you're actually drowning yourself in that problem. You know, in my experience, I grew up among the people who are always negative. Like in my classroom, always my classmate says that, oh, I will get this mark, I will get bad, I won't do something, and I'm not confident, etc., etc. My past friends said that they are bad at everything, they said all the negative thoughts, but I remember always inside of me, I didn't process in my mind what they were saying. Always there was a thought and words in my mind that I will do it. It will be in the best way for me. I will get it. I will achieve it. I'll do anything possible for me to achieve it. Like nothing is impossible for me. I even remember there was a period in my life when I woke up at 4 or 5 a.m. in the morning. I took a bus to the gym and all day I've been working on my projects. I've been doing my school tasks, etc. And every morning I wake up with such a grief, I woke up with such negative emotions, but while I was riding to the gym, you know these guys who are yelling that everything will be good, I will achieve everything, those motivational podcasts? I listened a lot to David Goggins and you know, every gym session in the morning, 5 a.m., no one else in the gym, just me. I was listening in my headphones that I will get through everything, I will achieve this, my goals will become true, and I'm strong, I'm powerful, etc. It was such a confidence boost for the entire day. I did everything so productively. So, do you understand how important it is to wire your brain in the right way? If you always overthink and you get anxious thoughts, you cannot think positively. You cannot think positively about anything. So, by that, you are delaying your goals. You are literally delaying your goals and putting yourself in worse situation. And the last thing is you need to stop comparing yourself to others. Delete social media apps. Delete people in your life that is making you feel bad about yourself. Get rid of all this negative affection to you. Because if you have by your side people, friends, who are influencing you positively, you will not even have a thought to think bad about yourself, to have these constant overthinking thoughts, to have this constant anxiety. Like, people these days are always comparing them to the social media. For example, someone has a Birkin bag, someone has this supercar and you don't, and you think that it's inspiring, but in a true perspective, it never have been inspiring, never. Because you are comparing yourself to others people's progress. Some 15-year-old can be riding a red Ferrari and you are 30 and you didn't achieve anything. Does it mean that it's too late for you? No. It just means that you have your own path and you need to shut up your brain and stop comparing yourself to others. You need to do the action required to achieve your goals. Because you don't know your future. Maybe you will achieve much more. Maybe you will achieve much more than this 15-year-old in the red Ferrari in all his lifetime. You don't know this. The smallest thing that you can do for yourself is to start doing the action towards your goals. And I hope you guys enjoyed this video. I love you so much. I hope you gained some good knowledge from this. See you next time.